We need to talk about your debt. No, I'm not talking about that £1.25 trillion you've borrowed on credit cards, mortgages, student loans, etc., etc., even though at £50,000 per UK household, that is starting to get a little scary. No, what I'm talking about is your other debt. The debt our politicians have incurred on your behalf without telling you. What debt's that, you say? Surely our national government borrowing is firmly under control with Gordon Brown's famous Golden Rule. I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. You'd better sit down. First, even under his famous Golden Rule, Gordon Brown has still managed to borrow nearly £500 billion, or roughly £20,000 for every household. But I'm afraid that is just the tip of the iceberg. Item 1. The Private Finance Initiative. Under PFI, Gordon Brown has borrowed huge additional amounts of money to fund the construction of schools and hospitals. But under the government's arcane Enron-style accounting rules, most of that debt does not appear on the government's balance sheet. But make no mistake, we taxpayers are on the line for making payments to service the debt many, many years into the future. And when you add up all the numbers and express it as a single debt figure, it comes to £90 billion. Item 2. Public sector pensions. At a time when private sector employees have seen their pension funds virtually destroyed by Gordon Brown's tax grab, public sector employees continue to enjoy generous pension arrangements, retirement at 60 and index-linked payments. And we taxpayers are picking up the tab because thanks to our politicians, in almost all cases, public sector pensions are not backed by any underlying investments. The payments are going to have to come straight out of our taxes. And according to a leading firm of actuaries, the total value of that commitment is £960 billion. And then there's nuclear decommissioning. We all know about the decaying nuclear power stations littering Britain, but do we all understand that it's we taxpayers who are on the line for cleaning up the mess? And the last official estimate of the cost was £160 billion. Many think it will be higher. So when you add it all up and throw in a few incidentals like the fact that we taxpayers are still on the line for some of the pension liabilities for firms that we privatised in the 1980s, you come to a grand total of £1.8 trillion. That is more than 3 times the officially declared debt that Gordon Brown tells us about, and it's equivalent to £70,000 for every household in Britain. But you know, the really shocking news is that it doesn't end there. We all know we face a problem with an ageing population, and as the Turner Commission highlighted last year, unless the government does something, we are going to be spending an ever larger proportion of our national income on old age pensions, and we will not be able to afford it. And you know, old age pensions are really based on politicians' promises. There is no underlying pool of investments to draw on. All of the money is going to have to come out of our taxes. And if you take the Turner Commission's projections and you add up all the cost, you come out with a figure of £7 trillion. Truly scary. Now it's you and me that are going to have to pay for all this debt, and I think it's high time we made 2 things perfectly clear to our profligate politicians. First, we expect a much higher degree of openness and honesty about how much debt they're running up. I would like to see responsibility for monitoring debt taken away and given to an independent authority such as the National Audit Office. And second, we need to cut up the credit card. We need a clear set of rules to limit the freedom of our politicians to incur debt on our behalf. We need to stop them helping themselves to our future income.